Good morning, students. Up to now, you have learned the names and basic structure of all the tenses. Let us go in each tense in detail, and in today's session, I will discuss about the structure of simple present tense, which is the first tense. Let's see the structure. Before moving on to the structure, I will explain you about subject and object. सब्जेक्ट सब्जेक्ट इज द डूअर ऑफ द एक्शन। सब्जेक्ट क्या है? जिसने कोई काम किया हो या फिर जिसके बारे में कुछ कहा गया हो, वो सब्जेक्ट है। ऑब्जेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट इज द रिसीवर ऑफ द एक्शन। ऑब्जेक्ट क्या है? जिसने एक्शन को, काम को रिसीव किया हो। प्रेजेंट टेंस इज यूज्ड फॉर एक्शंस इन ए टाइम विच आर हैपनिंग नाउ। प्रेजेंट टेंस में ऐसे सेंटेंसेस आएंगे, ऐसे वाक्य आएंगे जिनके अंदर जो काम है अभी चल रहा है। तो ऐसे सेंटेंस जिनके अंदर जो काम है वो चल रहा है, वो प्रेजेंट टेंस के अंदर आते हैं। स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ सेंटेंसेस, सिंपल प्रेजेंट टेंस, as I have explained you in that chart also, that in simple present tense we are using verb first form s and es. So here I will explain you in detail where we will use ses and where we will not use ses. With the subject I, we, you, they, we will use the base form. Example: read, write, come, watch, study. With I, we, you, they, we will use this verbs. With the third person singular subjects like he, she, it and singular, we will use s and es. Examples: reads, writes, comes, watches, studies. If the verb spelling ends with x, o, ch, s and double s, we will put es after the verb if we have to use it in with third person singular subjects. So the basic structure of simple present tense is subject plus verb first form. Ses, if the subject is third person singular subject, then we will use ses plus object. Structure of simple present tense sentences: subject plus verb first form, ses plus object. Example of simple present tense sentence. Firstly, we will use subject he. Then, since he is third person singular subject, that's why we will use es or s. Since the spelling of go is in go, it the word ends with o. That's why we have used es here. He goes to market. We go to market. Since we is not third person singular subject, that's why we have used the base form. Then if we have to change simple present tense sentence into a negative sentence, we have to use do not or does not after the subject. After the subject we will use do not or does not. Where we will use does not: if the subject is third person singular subject, then we will use does not. If the subject is not third person singular subject, then we will use do not. Like for example, he goes to market. If this sentence we have to convert it into negative, what it becomes: he does not go to market. Another example: we do not go to market. Since we is not third person singular subject, that's why we have used do not. Okay, and if we have to change simple present tense sentence into an interrogative sentence, what we will do: we will add do or does in front of the sentence. If the subject is third person singular subject, then we will use does. If the subject is not third person singular subject, then we will use do. For example, does he go to market? He is third person singular subject, that's why we have used does. And since we have used we have used this es here, that's why we will use only go to market. We have to use the base form of the verb. Since we have used does here, that's why we will use the base form of the verb. Then we will put a question mark. Likewise, if we have to change this second sentence, we go to market, into an interrogative sentence, how we will change it? Since we is not third person singular subject, that's why we will use do. Then we will use we go to market, then we will put a question mark. So students, today I have explained you about simple present tense. In next session, I will explain you about present continuous tense sentences. This is your homework for the day. You have to make 5 sentences of simple present tense. You can make interrogative as well as negative sentences also.